Good morning, strugglers. It's another sunny morning, another summer's morning, wonderful day. But fuck all to do because I've got no money. Hashtag councillor on the dole, hashtag StruggleUK. I'm here today because I'm going to talk about me, really. Well, not me, but make a point using me. I'm going to be 43 in August. So it's been 43 years of economic struggle. And the problem with long-term economic struggle is having no money, poverty economically, is that it has a knock-on effect to everything in your life. At some point it has an effect on your education, has an effect on your housing, standard of housing, has an effect on your self-confidence as a young person, particularly as a teenager when you're sort of growing and sort of learning about the world and yourself. All this sort of hits you quite hard, It has an impact on your health. At some point, it will catch up with you. Poor people have higher mortality rates. Simple as that. It's a fact. Look at the statistics. And that's before you've got people like the Tories in charge for 7 years now. And you've got the suicide rates shooting through the roof for disabled people. People dying because they literally can't get the medical help that they need. So yeah, long-term poverty has terrible effects on people's lives, which isn't really talked about in the media. But people who are in it know that. So it's if it's you, if it's me, you can sort of accept that or come to terms with that. When it's your family who are in the same position and you're watching them physically and psychologically rot away while they're struggling with the same thing, that's what you can't accept. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I've stood for the council to see if I can help or change anything. That's why I've been volunteering for so many years in the community as an advisor with the CAB, and now with the benefits advice charity locally, and with the credit union locally, which is very important because of course the credit union here and all over the country give financial help to people like me who are totally reliant on benefits to live. You're not going to get that with a high street bank. So yeah, and that's why I'm doing this channel and everything else. But yeah, so I bring this up because while running for office locally for the first time, I had a lot of discussions with people who I'd say have got middle class incomes, but they're struggling themselves though, really, because they've got middle class incomes, but they've got families, young children. Everything costs too much anyway. They haven't got time, childcare costs and everything. They're really struggling themselves. But they'll say to me, they'll say things like, Theresa May and whoever happens to be the Secretary for State for Work and Pensions at the time, they're dealing with, are quite right to have things like benefit sanctions, quite right to have things to punish and vilify all of these benefit cheats and all this kind of stuff. But of course, what they're believing there is that there's a huge issue with benefit cheats and people staying in bed. I mean, I have this all the time on Saturdays when I do my campaigning. I have old ladies saying to me, people should get sanctioned if they're too lazy to go to their appointments or too lazy to get up in the morning to go to appointments. I mean, silly nonsense like this that they actually believe, because they don't know what they're talking about. And I'll have, just make them do some work for their benefits, and they'll be better off for it and into work, and any work's better than no work. Well, that's not true. That's evidently not true, because much of the work, if you're in most areas in the UK now is poverty pay, low paid poverty pay. You don't have your rights anymore, thanks to the Tories. Well, I'll qualify that. You don't have the rights you used to have, which were quite basic anyway. You can be treated more or less as an employer likes, which they know, of course. And of course, it also misses the point that if you've had a life of struggle, a life in economic poverty, like me, there are lots, for most people, there are lots of underlying issues, such as education or lack of health problems, health issues, which often mean mental health issues, which are completely unaddressed because you cannot get help, because mental health services have collapsed in many parts of the country, like here, completely reliant on charities like mine, who of course are inundated. So yeah, all this sort of, I'm sure you probably hear it too, all this sort of, any job's better than no job, from sort of, I wouldn't even say Tory supporters, but people who've been sort of brainwashed into that, is nonsense. Don't get me wrong, I've worked in lots and lots of jobs. I mean, I've done virtually anything you can think of over the years, trying to make ends meet. But it's always been low pay, poverty pay. I've never been better off financially afterwards. I've always been straight back onto the dole because it was, it's all been piecemeal, part-time crap. Always been treated like shit while there because they know they can get away with it. I mean, over the past 10 years, I've tried to address my disastrous education at school, because it was, low quality, poor school, without much money, teachers that were demoralised, because, that's the way it goes for them now, and back then, actually, through the Thatcher years. So I've put myself through uni twice. I don't know how, to be honest with you, economically, and it's been a struggle, to be honest. I've run out of money on both times in the final years, so the fact that I graduated at all, to be honest with you, is a miracle as far as funds go. I mean, don't get me wrong, I worked my arse off. I mean, I probably worked twice as hard as anybody else there just to get through, because the financial issues were insurmountable, to be honest with you. But I knew I had to do it for the family. I'm not going to sit and watch them rot. Hasn't paid off yet, because you come out of uni, as most graduates will know now, you come out of uni into the same low paid, poverty paid work, unless you happen to live in a good area when you've got connections. It's still who you know, not what you know. I don't care what they say. That's still how it works. So yeah, it's tough. So now I'm in the odd position that I've got 2 degrees, a computing degree and a law degree, but I'm in an area where they don't really count, because the work for that's not there. Because I've been in economic poverty for so long, I have no means of travelling outside the area to get a job in one of the near cities or towns. So you're stuck. So yeah, long-term poverty has long-term effects. Recently it's affected my health. It's caught up with me. So, because you do tend to, after years of struggling on the dole and struggling trying to get work and get somewhere and build a future, you do inevitably at some point, I don't care who you are, how mentally tough you are, at some point you just sort of become depressed, you lose hope, you're stuck inside, you're not doing enough physical and mental inactivity, you put on weight, it affects your health. So I've had that recently, along with the stress of all the campaigning and things, no help, which is very stressful, and it affected my health. So for the whole of my campaign, I had a arrhythmia problem with my heart, so I couldn't physically go anywhere. I couldn't do stairs, I couldn't walk on the flat, I was gasping for breath. And luckily, thanks to the NHS, which the Tories want to sort of dismantle and sell off, a fantastic NHS and a fantastic doctors and nurses, many of whom were from overseas, from the EU and non-EU countries. I'm, touch wood, better now. They sorted me out. So at the minute I'm trying to stay positive and active and get my life back on track, really. But unless we get JC in a week's time and Labour, I'll have 5 more years of trying to look for work that isn't there, possibly having to go to food banks, which there are a number of in this area because so many people need them. Fighting off benefit sanctions, fighting off all the stigma and all the crap we have to go through. So yeah, I literally, for my life and the life of my family, literally need a Labour government, a Jeremy Corbyn government. So vote Labour, vote JC. Don't vote against your interest, don't vote Tory. Don't vote UKIP. If you think UKIP are the nice Tories on your side, there's one answer to that: bollocks. Bollocks. It's a marketing ploy. You know, you're strugglers, you're poor, you're not thick. Don't vote UKIP. Vote Labour. Vote for your interests. Vote for your family's interests. Change your lives. And that's it for now. So, ciao for now. See you tomorrow.